It's the CalebDMTG show.
More cards! More Innistrad! All this Innistrad stuff's like been tickling my my nostalgia feel for old Innistrad. Really looking forward to this limited format. Arrogant Outlaw, 2 and a black, 3/2. Creature Vampire Noble. When it enters the battlefield, if opponent lost life this turn, you drain them for 2. It's pretty nice if you got a nice like attacking curve. Can do a lot of work there. Overall, I think this card is worse than the vampire that's just like a 3-mana 2/3 that just like drains when it comes into play automatically, though. It's a little snowbally this way, where you need to connect first. Not attack first, but like actual connect. So pretty fillerish, even though it can do work in the right deck. Baneblade Scoundrel, 3 in the black. Human Rogue Werewolf. When it becomes blocked, each creature blocking it gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Oh, like that really super old ability. Flanking. This is just flanking, right? I haven't seen that for forever. The last time I ran into flanking was like Pauper Slivers. You can play the sliver that gives them all flanking. And then the flip side, it is Daybound. The Nightbound side is a 5/4, also with flanking. And whenever creature blocking it dies, the controller loses 1 life. This is like... It's a totally fine card. It's a totally fine card, right? But I'm gonna be a little mean here and say that this is like... Of all of the Daybound, Nightbound cards, this is the one that excites me the very least. It literally just gets +1/+1. And then you can like drain them for 1 if a creature dies. You like do all this work to flip it. Yes! My 4/3 is now a 5/4! Yes! The front side's pretty good. I mean, it's fine, right? X1s don't block it very well at all, unless they're chumping. You can't put like a 2/1 and a 1/1 in front of it. Kind of needs to trade with like a similarly sized body. You think the front side's a fairly high pick, so it's understandable. That they didn't make the backside like super busto. Yeah. No, it's scaled fine, you know? Like it's not like a... It's not gonna get like too broken or whatever, just like a slight little buff. It almost feels like the, My question is, like, why does it have Daybound, Nightbound? If it's not changing that much. But I guess the old Werewolves did that too, right? This got a little bit better sometimes. You think that it was better on the backside at one point and got too strong? Sure. Yeah, I'm not necessarily like saying that it should be something different or whatever. Like maybe this is totally fine, totally appropriate. It could be something like completely different though, and not be overpowered as well. But not everything has to be super imaginative and break the mold, so to speak. Hey, Sorbius thinks the something's to 19 months. Throwback to Lesser Greater Werewolf? Sure. Sure. Alright, Bat Whisperer. 3 and black for a 4/2 creature vampire. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Yeah, this is another one of those filler cards, huh? Very similar to the Arrogant Outlaw, where if you've connected, it gets to do something sweet. And if you haven't, it's like pretty poop. The fail case is you spent 4 mana for a 4/2, which used to be a normal filler card in Limited, right? A card that you weren't happy to play, but if you had an opening in your 4-drop, you just play it. Now everything has to have a fucking ability. So I guess you play this in your deck with flyers. And you play it and you get another flyer after connecting, and you're like your 4/2 trades with, I don't know, your opponent's thing. And you're happy that you get a little bit of flying value. I don't know. I won't spend too much time on it. It is filler. Blade Brand, 1 in a black instant. Target creature gains death touch until end of turn. Draw a card. I feel like we've seen this. Not this exact card. Very similar cards out of black for a while. Very good with First Strike, of course. You can pair with First Strike. Letting your 1/1s trade up is also sweet. Not a high pick, but not bad. Not bad filler. Filler that can like act as removal is always sweet. And Blade Brand can certainly do that. It is just a straight up reprint. Sure. Bloodline Culling. 1 black instant. Choose 1. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn, or creature tokens get -2/-2. Ooh. So the second option is very niche for constructed, but it seems great in this limited format, huh? Just like murder your opponent's board of tokens they've been collecting. And the failsafe is that you just like have a good removal spell, so I'm certainly drafting this, right? If I'm in black, it's like, yep, pack 1, pick 1. Quality removal, or like blowout. One-sided sweeper, potentially. Of course, if you are drafting black, you're probably making a lot of tokens of your own, huh? Probably making a lot of those 2/2 zombie things. Anyway, cool card. Potentially going to see niche constructed play, because that second ability. If there are token decks, right? This would be like a pseudo main deckable as a 1-of removal spell. There could also be a blowout because of that. Fog, Field of the Dead type decks. Blood Pact, 2 in a black instant. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Sure. We've seen this a lot. We haven't seen it as an instant very often, and that's kind of cool. This art's fucking sick, too. Blood Tithe Collector, 4 in a black for a 3/4 flying. Vampire Noble, when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, each opponent discards a card. So that ability, I mean, 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer, I've talked about this several times over this review. The 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer is good. That's a good rate for a flyer in Limited. The ability is still very snowbally, just like I pointed out with those other 2 black cards that we looked at. This one, by the time you get to 5 mana in draft, there's a really good chance that your opponent might just like not have a card in their hand by the time you play this, and you just won't get value. There's also a really good chance you get like one of their last cards, and their discard's gonna be like really high value. They're holding on to some removal or bomb or whatever. You just get it. I almost feel like it should be discard a card at random. Yeah, they're trying to get you to attack Tackler, but it's not worth, like, making a bad attack just to, like, get a 1/1 flyer or whatever. Usually not. Champion of the Perished. Oh, I remember when this one was spoiled. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Champion of the Perished. Yeah, I mean, I obviously fuck with zombies. I'll try this card out. Why wouldn't I? It's actually kind of interesting and limited. Because there's all these things that make zombie tokens. So if you can run it out early, you could actually have like a really nice aggressive curve. Alright, Covert Cut Purse, 2 and a black, 2/1, Human Rogue. When enters the battlefield, destroy target creature you don't control that was dealt damage this turn. So, we've seen this ability on flash creatures. This one does not have flash. And 3 mana for a 2/1's like pretty low. So very reliant on actually getting that damage in. That said, it might be a hard card to play around. You attack with your shitters, or especially the zombie tokens, right? Your opponent doesn't know, like if they don't know if you're like just attacking just to like trigger something like Bat Whisperer with those stupid zombie tokens. Yeah, maybe those zombie tokens make these abilities better. These creatures that you don't mind serving in and just like having them die, and then these cards like give you a way to convert them into value. Anyway, your opponent doesn't know if you're attacking in just to like turn on these effects, or if you've got something like a Covert Cut Purse, they block the token with their 4/4 whatever, and then you declare it. Let's see what the Disturb side says. Flying Death Touch. Sure. Those are some good abilities. Yeah, I like this card's in the format. Should make for some frustrating combats. Probably really good. Crawl from the Cellar, black, sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Put a 1/1 counter up to 1 target zombie you control. And you can flash it back. I feel like this card's good. Obviously, it's at its best if you're like growing your zombies. But it is value too, right? Like, just straight up Raised Dead's not very good. But this isn't that. This is Raised Dead with flashback. Not quite as good as Gravedigger, but close. Close-ish. Cursive Leeches, 2 and a black, enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. This permanent transforms into Cursive Leeches, attach it to a player. At the end of enchanted player's upkeep, they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. And then it's daybound, so it can transform. When it transforms, what happens? Oh my god, that's terrifying. Leeching Lurker, lifelink Nightbound. What a weird card. I kind of love it. I feel like board states are going to be changing so fucking dramatically in this format. One turn, you've got this like weird drain aura. Next turn, 4/4 lifelink. Yeah, so early on in the review, we were talking about how Flash would help you change it from Daybound to Nightbound or whatever, but it doesn't really help with that at all, huh? Because it only cares about on your own turn. Flash is still a sweet ability, of course, but... Yeah, I kind of love it. Defenestrate, 2 and a black instant. Destroy target creature without flying. Yeah, this card's solid. Really quality sealed removal spell. A little bit more situational in draft. Can start in your sideboard, totally fine. You can pass and flash. Sure, I see what you're saying. So on turns that you wanna pass, like you're not completely time walking yourself, because then you can play stuff on the opponent's turn. I gotcha. But your flash cards can't interact with whether it's flipping from day or night. Alright, Diregraph Horde. 4 and a black creature zombie. Enters the battlefield, create 2/2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. When you do, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. Huh. Yeah, this is hard to value, right? Like, if you can use those bodies, then it's good. This card would be nutty if the zombies didn't have Decayed, of course. I think you could say that with a lot of cards in this format. Little Grave Titan? Sort of, not really. Yeah, on surface glance, I don't think this card should be making most decks. But if you have ways of actually converting the 2/2s into value, then it starts to become better, starts to become playable. Dread Hound, 4 black for a 6/6. When it enters battlefield, mill 3 cards. Whenever a creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard for a library, each opponent loses a life. Demon Dog. Sweet. Yeah, I think you can pick this card pretty early. Sir Conrad's dog. Yeah, right? It's got the Sir Conrad Drain ability. But you can't just like sit there and activate it to win the game by itself. Clearly not as good as Sir Conrad. But it's also a 6 mana 6/6 instead of a 5 mana 5/4 or whatever. A little bit better in combat. Certainly playable. It certainly rewards you for serving in. And really good for helping you convert those zombie tokens into actual damage, right? Because when the zombie tokens die, they're still dying, right? When you sacrifice at end of combat.
Oh, shit,
Duress. Hey Hitachi, thanks for the sub, at least the 9 months there. 1 and a black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Oh, that seems really good. I wish Wizards would stop printing playable 1 mana discard spells. The power creep is a little real. It's a little real. Like, sure, Thoughtseize is good, but it also makes you lose 2 life. This doesn't even have that. If you want to take a non-creature anyway, it's just better. I think this card will see Legacy play. I would bet your life on it. Alright, Eaten Alive. 1 black sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sack a creature or play 3 and a black. Exile a creature or planeswalker. Love having answers to planeswalkers in my limited format. That said, I don't think we've seen a planeswalker yet. Still cool though. Cool card. A lot of bodies laying around to sacrifice. Ecstatic Awakener. 1 black for a 1/1. Creature, human, wizard. 2 and a black, sack another creature. Draw a card, then transform. Ecstatic Awakener. Activate only once each turn. So that could be worth. Let's see what the flip side is. It's a 4/4? It's a fucking 4/4? Like, yeah, maybe that's worthwhile. You draw a card and then transform? I mean, the flip side would have to be like, I mean, at least a 2/2 or something for this to be worth. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I like this card. This set has had more like 1-mana 1/1s that interest me than like any other set I've ever reviewed. That's good shit. You also get to draw a card, right? So you're sacrificing a worthless zombie, you draw a card, and now you have a 4/4. Potentially on turn 3. Not a bad rate for a common. Foul play, 1 in a black sorcery. Destroy target creature with power 2 or less. Investigate. Yeah, this card's really good. So the removal aspect of it is really narrow. The creature has to be power 2 or less. That's not a wide swath of creatures. But it doesn't really need to kill anything that's good. It just needs to kill like anything at all. Like stone anything. Because you get to investigate. You're drawing a card. So, like, if your opponent plays an Ecstatic Awakener, you are fucking ecstatic to foul play it. You're almost happy killing a stupid zombie token. I wouldn't want to kill a zombie token with this, unless I had, like, some reason to, unless I, like, really wanted to dig or whatever. But if you kill anything that's even, like, a 1/1 token, right? If you kill a fucking 1/1 bat or whatever, and then also get to draw a card, you're pretty ecstatic. Limited decent? Yeah. Almost better than that. Almost better than limited. I think if it was power 3 or less, it would like clearly be a good constructed card. And it might still be good. It might still be good for constructed. I've definitely played like deal 2 damage to a creature, gain 2 life, you know, just for like a little bit of life gain value. I've played that in multiple formats. Drawing a card is so much better than gaining 2 life. Ghoul is Procession. 1 in a black enchantment. Whenever one or more non-token creatures die, you get a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. This ability triggers only once each turn. But it can trigger on your turn and the opponent's turn. Like combat's happening pretty regular. Yeah, it's hard to figure out exactly how good this card is. It's gonna be one that I'm gonna want to play with. This card, I could see this card being like extremely niche, like borderline unplayable, and I could see it being a pack 1 pick 1. Depending on how often, how consistently you can make those zombie tokens useful. Yeah, there's definitely some mechanics in the format that reward you for attacking pretty aggressively. Could be really good. Gissa, Glorious Resurrector. 2 black. Man, she's just having a fucking ball. just the time of her life. Legendary creature, human wizard. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gissa. Glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. Yeah, that ability's pretty sweet. 4 mana for a 4/4. You'll never be that happy. Yeah, not enough corpses. Zombie parties don't stop. Love it. Love it. So obviously this card is great and limited. One of those pack 1 pick 1 deals. We've had similar cards see constructed play. The ability seems a little wonky for constructed for me. Almost like she needs like lifelink or something. Do like a Kalidas impression. Yeah, a few too many hoops for standard maybe. You think it's standard playable? Yeah, it could be. I mean, it is powerful. I could be wrong. Not quite Kalitas, yeah. You think it matches up well with the previous enchantment? This thing? Sort of. Yeah, you get the end to the battlefield abilities. Oh, it's a non-bow with the previous enchantment. Yeah, this one says dies, and this one is a replacement effect that stops dying. Fair enough. Not that that matters very much, because you're only getting this so often and limited, and this one is not a constructed card. All right, Graveyard Trespasser, 2 and a black for a 3/3. Ward, discard a card. That's a really good ward ability. As anyone who's killed that stupid fucking 5-mana Eldrazi, Reality Shaper Smasher, whatever the fuck. Fuck that card. Whenever Graveyard Trespasser enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. So the ability is just the same as on that 2-drop rare 3/2 that we reviewed in white. Only we can, like, drain if we exile creatures with it. It's like a little bit better than that ability, but it doesn't have the protection ability, the evasiveness. The flip side also has Ward, discard a card. Whenever Graveyard Glutton enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. For each creature card exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's kind of a zesty ability. Getting to drain for 2 on attack. Yeah, even closer to Deathgorger, exactly. You think this looks like a vampire, not a werewolf? Interesting. No, I know you were talking about the front side. Do you think she needs to be hairier to be a werewolf? Like a beard or something? How would the transformed card enter the battlefield? Well, if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. So if either you or your opponent pass the turn when it's daybound, it'll become nightbound. And all of the cards that are daybound will fucking flip. And then if you cast this card when it's night out, if it's already night already and you cast it, it comes into play on the night side.
Oh shit, what up?
Hey Brax34, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 25 months there. Ooh. What's the bag? What's the altar Graveyard Trespasser looking like? Yeah, once someone's played a card with Daybound or Nightbound, Day and Night are still, you do still track them even if there's nothing in play that cares about them, which sounds real wonky. But it could matter if someone like plays one that cares about it later, right? So it'll be intuitive. It'll be intuitive to track for the limited format, but maybe less intuitive if you're playing like exactly one card that cares about it in your constructed deck. Seems real easy for players to forget. Could be real painful in paper, yeah. But Arena and Moto will keep track of it for you. Straight up eating a gravestone. It's hungry, wants a snack. Don't judge. A little snack roll. Mmm. Nutritious gourmet rocks. They're such big, strong hands, aren't they? Alright, Heirloom Mirror. 1 in a black artifact. 1 tap, pay 1 life, discard a card, draw a card, mill a card, then put a ritual counter on Heirloom Mirror. Then if it has 3 or more ritual counters on it, remove them and transform it. Activate only as a sorcery. Just in case you wanted to, like, mill a card on your opponent's turn. Just make sure you can't do that. And then when you have 3 rituals, it flips. And becomes an Inherited Fiend! A creature demon flying. 4/4. 2 in a black, exile target creature card from graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on Inherited Fiend. Oh, that's pretty fucking sweet. Well done, young fool, well done! Now for your reward. Sweet, I love rewards. Is it a cookie? Interesting. I think I kind of love this card. All of the artifact transform cards, the uncommon cycles in this set seem really well done, really interesting. Like, almost constructed playable, but not quite, probably. I mean, discard a card, draw a card as a repeated activation. If you're doing graveyard stuff, like almost interesting as an enabler. You remove the ritual counters and transform it. I guess it'll be tapped, right? You won't be able to block the turn that it flips. That's kind of poop. Yeah, exactly. Amazing chest. If it didn't start out tapped, if you could block that turn, it'd be a little bit more interesting. Using if it cost 1. If it cost 1 and untapped itself on flip, I think it would be like an interesting rare. You have to play them in this order, yep. You have to pay the life. First you pay the mana, then you tap, then you pay the life, then you discard a card, then you draw a card, then you mill a card, then you put the ritual counter on it. You always resolve cards in order. Hobbling Zombie. 2 in a black, creature zombie, death touch. Oh no, its leg! It's caught in a bear trap! Gnawing off my leg. Quiet, quiet. I see someone tried to stop you, my pet. How delightful. Cool. Yeah, 3 mana, 2/2, death touch. When it dies, you get a 2/2 zombie creature token with Decayed. That's cool. Some quality filler. Hard to block because of the death touch. And then it leaves a little bit of value behind. Not a lot of it, but a little bit of. Yeah, not a high pick for sure. But if you need a 3-drop, it's not embarrassing. Infernal Grasp, 1 in the black, destroy target creature, you lose 2 life, instant. Oh, that's some quality fucking removal. Quality fucking removal indeed. I feel like I say this every time a new 2-mana removal spell comes out, but I'd probably play this in Historic, right? Certainly in Limited. Certainly in Standard. I think some of my chat's getting horny from the art. We'll move on before y'all get too hot and bothered. Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nathalia. 1 in a black, 1/1, legendary creature, human wizard, rare. At the beginning of your end step, if you control known creatures with Decayed, you get a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Interesting. So you almost have to have like a sack outlet for this, right? I mean, you play this on turn 2, and you get the body, and now you have like 3 power and 3 toughness, and then it attacks and replaces itself. The part where this card starts to look bad is if you have other things that are making zombie tokens. It's kind of like how Ophiomancer is like a really sick card, unless you're playing snakes. like if you're playing Snake Tribal, it just stops working. It just stops doing stuff. And Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nathalia has that. which normally wouldn't be a big deal, except, like, there's a shitload of zombies in this limited format. Just attack with them? Well, you're never getting past, even if you're attacking with them, like, you're never getting past the 1. Normal zombies don't hurt it? Yeah, but... but like, half the cards that are making zombies in this format are making, Decayed. Hell, even the zombie that dies makes a Decayed. Certainly a good card, but it's no Ophiomancer. I mean, it is an Ophiomancer, but it's an Ophiomancer in a snake tribal format. This with Unruly Mom, sure. Yeah, that's hot. Hot and white black sacrifice, for sure. Yeah, I'm not saying not to draft it, for sure. I'm definitely not saying not to draft it. Just that it's not quite as busted as it looks, I don't think. That's all. Jarian, Corrupted Bishop. 2 and a black, legendary creature, human cleric, 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, or another non-token human you control dies, you lose 1 life and get a 1/1. Yeah, that's hot. 2 mana, target human you control gains lifelink until end of turn. Can target itself. And the beginning of your end step, if you have exactly 13 life, you may pay 4 black. So not only does it have to be at the beginning of your end step, and not only do you have to have exactly 13 at life, you also have to fucking pay 6 mana? That's a lot. Why not just pay 13 life? Why not keep it symmetrical and have it be a 13/13? And then mortgage your house and sell it to wizards. So long as we're talking about really reasonable costs. Alright, what's the other side do? Flying, trample, lifelink. Sack another creature, draw a card. That's hot. So just the passive ability. Like, I mean, 3 mana for a 2/3 that comes into play with a 1/1. Like, that's already fine, you know? And then if you've got other non-token humans that are dying, you're gonna get more value that way. And then there's the lifelink involved. So totally reasonable. It's like sort of interesting for constructed. If you have white-black humans going on. It is a legend, but if you draw 2 of them, you can play out, you can play your second one and still get 2 1/1s. So it's not bad, not that bad to play in multiples. You want to flip it and play a second? Yeah, you can do that. Moon Mist. Is the demon side a legend? Yes, yes it is. Y'all care about the weirdest shit. Is that an artist of the song? The name scroll underneath my face? The last track we were listening to was Paradise Plunder by Wolf and Raven. We had listened to like a lot of Wolf and Raven in a while, so if you liked that, you should check them out. They're a pretty sweet group. And now we're back in Jenkies. Anyway, Lord of the Forsaken, 4 black, 6/6 flying trample, 1 black, second other creature, target player mills 3 cards. That can kill someone in limited, like a lot faster than you'd think. People aren't starting with a 40 card deck in limited. Like, not when you're activating the Lord of the Forsaken, right? Like, players draw their natural 7, and then by the time you're playing a 6-drop, right? By the time you're playing a 6-drop, they're, like, getting close to the 20s. Assuming they're not doing self-mill themselves. And then there's a weird little channel ability stapled on here too. Pay 1 life, add a colorless, spend this mana only to cast a spell from your graveyard. Which would normally be very exciting, but 6 mana for a channel is a lot. Like, you're probably not going to have a lot of life to spare by the time you actually get to casting this card. Maybe it's just to be exciting for EDH. You think a 6/6 flying trampler kills them faster? Potentially. Maybe they got some flyers, right? Maybe your opponent has 2, 3, 4 flyers, and they totally brick your Lord of Forsaken, and so like, neither you or they can attack. And then you'll have to sacrifice like what, 5 or 6 creatures to completely deck them in a super long, drawn-out game. Mr. Metronome, thanks for the raid. Welcome, folks. Doing a little bit of a set review here. This is my first time reading a lot of these cards, so chat's been helping me out. Been evaluating stuff. Anyway, Limited Bomb is a bomb in Limited. Looks like its abilities are kind of geared towards... I mean, the first ability is sweet and limited. The second ability is more of an EDH thing, I think. But yeah, we can move along. Yeah, follow Mr. Metronome. Absolutely. Great streamer, great content creator. There's a lot of good limited stuff. Alright, Massive Grizzlebrand. 1 black legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has flying and lifelink. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may pay X life, or X is its power. If we do, draw X cards and equips 3. Flying and lifelink is not a bad pat. It's not like a terrible pair of abilities. The dying to pay X life and drawing cards seems almost more like a Skull Clamp type thing than a Grizzlebrand type thing. But anyway, not terrible to have on there. If you're attacking your opponent with like even if you just put this on a 4/4, they're probably gonna have to kill it at some point. You get your value. How do they reshape the mask to fit new heads? Fucking magic. It's magic. Any like lore or flavor question, like how does this work? It's magic. The name of the game is magic. That's your answer. They reshape the head. No, oh my god. You think this looks bad in Limited? Even if this was only flying and lifelink, this would be a good card in Limited. This gets worse in Constructed because it's wonkier. The wonkiness is less acceptable in Constructed. Might still be good enough. It's doing some powerful stuff. But no, I would certainly not pass this in Limited. Don't do that. Don't do that. Morbid Opportunist. 2 and a black for a 1/3. Creature human rogue. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, draw a card. Its ability triggers only once each turn. Well, that's fucking great. Wait, what? Whenever 1 or more other creatures die, draw a card. Its ability triggers only once each turn. Yeah. Yeah, this card's insane, right? Isn't this card insane? Am I missing something? Fucking every other card in this limited format is spitting out some stupid zombie that serves no other purpose but dying. And this is just a 3 mana 1/3 that draws every time one of those stupid zombies dies. Only once each turn, but like, that's gotta be happening a lot. I'm not missing anything. This is great. Yeah. Yeah, don't pass this one. I'm just making a little note so I don't forget it. Morkrut Behemoth, 4 and a black. This initial cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, or pay 1 and a black. So you can cast this for 7 and have a 7/6 with Menace. Or you can pay 5 and sack one of your stupid decay zombies, and that'd be fine too. 7/6 with Menace is pretty good. Obviously, you can only play so many 5-drops in your deck, even if you do have lots of sack fodder. But you can still play like 2 or 3 of these. Card's great. Necrosynthesis. 1 in a black, enchant Medora, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Whenever enchanted creature dies, look at the top X cards of your library, X is its power. Put 1 of those cards into your hand. And the rest of your bottom of your library in a random order. What a wonky little aura. Plays really well with sack effects, if you're doing a lot of that. Also plays well with those zombies, another way to convert those zombies into value. You don't think it's good? I mean, it's hard for auras to be good, right? They're very vulnerable to bounce effects and instant speed removal and that sort of thing. It's hard for an aura to be good. This one I think is like sort of close, based on the nature of the format. And if they do have like sorcery speed removal for it, at least you're getting some value back, right? You're gonna get a card back. There's multiple bounce effects in the format. I think there's a common one. But yeah. I could certainly take over a game. Could certainly win. But you should always be hesitant to play auras. Not that you should never play them. Just be hesitant. Just be aware of the downside, aware of the drawback. Probably keeps the Necrosynthesis from being like a super early pickup. Novice Occultist. 1 in a black, 1/2, human wizard. Whenever it dies, you draw a card and you lose life. Love it. Absolutely. Yeah. How many of these cards would I put in a deck? Decent number. I would certainly let her spread stakes around my basement. In a weird occult ritual. That's definitely a thing I would do. Alright, No Way Out. 2 in a black sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Mind rots are usually better than they look in limited. I mean, you are getting value, right? And you get one of those stupid zombies with it. It feels like every limited set, they're like, and then this is the Mind Rot that has the mechanic attached from this set. Which I'm not complaining about. I like it. I'm into it. Counterintuitively, Mind Rots are a little bit better on the draw. If you're sideboarding for like sealed or something, say you've got a sealed pool with like multiple No Way Outs, and you only really want to play like 1 in your main deck, if you're on the draw, you should be like, and your opponent's got a lot of bombs in their deck and stuff, you consider playing more. I've played up to like 3 before. When you're on the draw, the opponent starts with less cards, so the chance that you're gonna get good cards with your Mind Rot goes up higher. When your opponent's on the draw, because they've got that extra card, they're more likely to like have the mana they need for their spells all sectioned off and stuff already. They'll know what they don't need better, have more information. Just more cards to discard in general. Hey Ty, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 19 months. I said people should call me Poop Face? I don't remember saying that, but hello. Oh, you think this is worse in a format with Graveyard Matters stuff going on? With all the all the disturb cards that you want to get in the bin anyway? Yeah, there might be some truth to that. I would still not call it unplayable though. Olivia's Midnight Ambush. 1 in a black instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it's night, that creature gets -13/-13 until end of turn. Instead. Love it. Yeah, this card's kind of fun. I like that this scales too, because early game, like -2/-2 is going to kill most of the early game creatures, right? The Goblin Pikers or whatever it is your opponent's doing. And then in the late game, when your opponent's playing their like huge bombs, there's a better chance of something having flipped it to night. Some debound effect to have happened. And it's instant, so you can like pass the turn, make it night, kill their thing. Love it. Rotten Reunion. One black instant. Exile up to one target card from a graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. And then it flashes back. So you should not be playing this to make zombie creature tokens with decay, I don't think. You would need like a really specific deck that like cared about them way more than you should. That said, if you want graveyard hate, your opponent's doing like reanimator stuff, maybe you can play this. Maybe that's fine. Yeah, so in general I would treat this as a sideboard card, I think. Yeah, kind of a sideboard card. Shady Traveler, 2 and a black, Human Werewolf, Menace, Daybound. 2/3, Human Werewolf, yeah. Common. And the flip side is a 4/4 Menace with Nightbound. Yeah, this card's solid. Maybe even better than solid. It's sort of comparable to the, there was a green, 2 and a green, 2/3 werewolf in old Innistrad that would turn into a 4/6 on the flip side, but it didn't have any kind of, it didn't have like Menace or whatever. That card was just like really good. You could play a solid number of them. Yeah, right? A 4/4 is pretty big, and Menace is a good ability. Good limited ability. Yeah, I'm also digging the art for this set. The art, the flavor is really good, really well thought out. Yeah, I think this card's great. I think you can put like a lot of them in your deck. Yeah, I think Villages of Estwald. I think this is going to play a similar role. Each game does not start daytime. It becomes daytime when you play something that says Daybound on it. So if nothing has interacted with Daybound or Nightbound, you would play this and it would become Daybound. But if Daybound and Nightbound's already happening, then it might come into play on the Nightbound side. Excuse me. Right. And there's a few things that say make it day when it comes into play. Anyway. Siege Zombie, 1 in a black 2/2, creature zombie, tap 3 untap creatures you control, each opponent loses 1 life. Yeah, I said this before. I mean, this card's just like kind of good for a 2-drop. But all of the cards, all of the tap 3 untap creature cards are probably better than they look because there's so many things spitting out these decay zombies. Just a reasonable way to use them, get the drain going. You can only drain for a few turns before you try an alpha, that sort of thing. Slaughter Specialist, 1 in a black, creature vampire warrior. When Slaughter Specialist enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 white human creature token. And then whenever a creature an opponent control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Slaughter Specialist. 2 mana for a 3/3, which would be a constructed worthy rate. You are giving the opponent a 1/1, but then it's got that grow ability. Yeah, I mean, I think this card's just like good and limited, just because like the 1/1 doesn't matter that much. Like it's like kind of a bummer to give them a 1/1, but the card itself is worth giving them a 1/1, especially at that rate. Even if they have a removal spell for your thing, then they're not using a removal spell on something else, and the downside of like giving them a 1/1 isn't that bad. It's not like disastrous, right, if they just kill this. I'm trying to think if this is constructed viable. Vampires have certainly been a constructed worthy tribe before. I think people still play vampires in Historic sometimes. Historic and Pioneer. God, can you imagine playing this in Historic? And you just like run this out on turn 2, give your opponent a white 1/1 human token, and then it turns out they're playing like tribal humans. And they're just like ecstatic. Give them a 1/1 token and then they play creativity, yeah. Now that the creativity deck has a hard time finding a token. Helix it? Yeah, I mean, if they play Helix and you have a removal spell up, you get to blow out the Helix. Like Fatal Push the 1/1 or whatever. Certainly relevant. Of course, in those matchups, like it's not really going to get bigger than that. Not going to get bigger than a 4/4. But once you get that first 1/1 counter, I mean, a lot of the removal in Historic does care about like 3 toughness. Helix, Anger the Gods, being the main sweeper. Can Cat Oven block this forever? Yeah, it can block any creature forever. That's not a mark against anything, right? It would get huge, but you don't really have a use for it. Anyway, yeah, worth thinking about, worth discussing. Coincidentally, I've learned how I want to die. But anyway, next card. Stormkirk Blood Thief. 2 and a black, 2/2. Creature, Vampire, Rogue. At the beginning of your end step, an opponent lost life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target vampire you control. So this is another one of those snowbally. They've taken damage. They've taken damage. You get to put a 1/1 counter on things cards. A lot better than the other ones we've looked at. At least the ability is. The best one of the bunch that we've seen is probably just like the 5-mana 3/4, just by nature of it being a 3/4 flyer. Even though making the opponent discard a card isn't that good of an ability. Whereas this ability to like grow things is pretty great. Especially if you have flying, if you have some flying creature, it's just growing every turn. Luminarix is constructed play, right? It does trigger at the beginning of your end step. And it has to put the 1/1 counter on a vampire. So if you're hitting them with like a bat or something, then this is going to be growing itself. That's still useful. Yeah. Very snowbally card. Much better in your deck depending on like how much you care about vampires, how aggressive you are. The more aggressive you are, the better this gets. Tainted Adversary, 1 and a black creature zombie, death touch, 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many 1/1 counters on it, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. So for 2 mana, you can have a 2/3 death touch. which is totally reasonable if you're curving out or if you need a blocker, whatever. Super reasonable. If you pay 5 mana, you get a 3/4. 3/4 Death Touch. And then 2 2/2s. But the 2/2s have decay. And then if you have 8 mana, it starts to look kind of busted. If you have 8 mana, I don't know. You're starting to like put enough power on the board. I think you might just be killing people. I think it feels like a limited card. Maybe. I mean, we're getting that champion of the perished. So maybe tribal zombies is a standard thing. I haven't looked at it, you know, I haven't like messed around and drummed up a standard zombies list or anything like that. But I can see playing this in standard, just because the base stats are fine. And then you've got like something that scales into the late game. Zombies in modern? I would not play this in modern or historic. Just too expensive. Cool card though. The Meathook Massacre, X Black legendary enchantment. When the Meathook Massacre enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you gain 1 life. This card's sick. I love this. I love that's an enchantment that sticks around for like potential value too. If you have something that cares about it. Devotion, for example. You're doing devotion stuff. It's really cool. Grey Merchant stuff. Really sweet card, yeah. Vesperlark Sicko stuff. I did have a Vesperlark Control Shell. This card would slot in really well there. A sweeper and a fucking win condition for Vesperlark. And you can even just like run it down on turn 2 if you're trying to curve out. Vampire Interloper is a fun reprint. Love it. You can't block, so you're only putting this in your aggressive decks, but like, as you saw, like the Vampire cards are all really aggressive. Like curving Vampire Interloper into the Blood Chief is pretty brutal. Vengeful Strangler, 1 in a black, creature human rogue, can't block. When it dies, return to the battlefield transformed under your control attached to target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. Ooh. Transforms into an aura, Strangling Grasp. Very kinky. Enchant creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. At the beginning of your upkeep, enchanted permanent's controller sacrifices a non-land permanent and loses 1 life. So you can sack the thing that you've enchanted, of course. But they're going to lose the life regardless. They can also sack not the thing you enchanted, if it's good enough to keep around. I can't block too. Weirdly aggressive. The loses 1 life aspect of this card. Loses 1 life aspect turns on all your, you know, this ability if they've lost life, taking damage, that sort of thing. Anyway, it's time for another break. I'm going to take a quick break here, go refill my water. This is almost over, almost empty. We'll come back and we'll handle red. Yeah, it looks like I've been going at like a little bit over an hour per color, which is a pretty good rate. It means we're going to be able to finish the review tonight, I think, instead of having to split it up.